What was there at the start?
We don't know. But I don't know and you don't know.
But no human brain, unless you want to correct me, can actually comprehend nothingness, right?
No, but it's a fallacy to think that because I don't understand how it happened, therefore God did it. I mean, that's just weak.
Well, no, I'm not.
Piers asks Richard, what was there at the start? Richard answers, nobody knows. Piers then states that no human brain can comprehend nothingness. Richard replies, it's a fallacy to think that because I don't know how it happened, that God did it. Why is it considered a fallacy to postulate that in a realm beyond scientific scrutiny, there exists a superior intelligence that's responsible for the complexity that is our universe? And why is it that because it can't be understood scientifically, it's dismissed as being nothing? Fact is, though, there are a few things that exist in our universe that also exist beyond its boundaries. For example, the law of conservation of energy states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, meaning it's eternal. And if energy predated our cosmos, then it had to be somewhere, and that would be the space that our universe is expanding into. The space our cosmos is expanding into has to be non-physical because our space is physical, and multiple objects cannot occupy the same space at once. Now, that's three things: energy, space, and a physical law that exist beyond the boundaries of a universe. And two of these, energy and space, predate our universe.
I'm certain that it doesn't help to postulate something very complicated at the outset, because what we've got is primeval simplicity, and from that stems everything. And what science does, it starts with simplicity, which is relatively easy to understand, and from that it develops into the whole of the universe and the whole of life. It doesn't help to start with complexity, and a creator has to be complex, whatever else he is.
Piers asks Richard, what happened before the Big Bang? Richard answers by saying that nobody knows, and it doesn't help to postulate a God that did it. Piers then hits back with, you're certain it's not a God, but yet you admit you don't know. Richard replies with, I'm certain it doesn't help to postulate something very complicated at the outset, because what we've got is primeval simplicity, and from there the universe and life. Why doesn't it help to postulate something very complicated at the outset? And why is it assumed that the universe and life arose from simplicity? And what's the scientific basis for this assumption? Because the dictates of the natural world indicate that it's actually complexity that lends to simplicity. Take procreation, for example. The baby that's born is less complex than its parents. Every invention, including very sophisticated ones such as supercomputers and the like, are all less complicated than the human brain that invented them. The formation of the universe itself doesn't give any indication of simplicity lending to complexity, but rather the opposite. For example, the first things to form in our cosmos were the elements, chemistry, then the stars and planets, physics, and then on Earth, life, biology. This order of the complex chemistry lending to the less complex physics and physics to the less complex biology indicates that things got simpler as the universe progressed in its development. Now, if we regress from the chemistry back to the even more complex Big Bang, then it's reasonable to conclude that the initial cause of the Big Bang would be even more complex, and therefore it's not that unusual to conclude that a creator of astounding intelligence and abilities was responsible. This argument also rules out the theory of evolution because of its postulating simplicity lending to complexity, because, as we've just discussed, the order of a universe's birth and development being complex lending to the simpler is that way for a reason, because it's impossible for it to be the other way around. to illustrate, complexity can lend to simplicity with change left over, but simplicity cannot lend to complexity because it doesn't have the capital. A question that's generally asked with regard to a creator is, who created the creator? When it's explained that the creator is eternal, this answer is considered too convenient. But as discussed earlier, energy is eternal. So is it that much of a stretch that its source is also? Something that atheists mightn't like to admit, but definitely cannot deny, is that a universe is a miracle. Because the initial cause of our cosmos cannot be explained by science, and miracle is defined as an extraordinary and welcome event that's not explicable by natural or scientific laws and therefore attributed to a divine agency.